Hello and welcome back. It's puzzle time with Sudoku Sleuth, and you can see Sleuth there trying to solve some kind of case with the only clue that we seem to have is #2. Sprawled all over the paper that he's meant to be studying. I wonder, could it be that the constructor is saying #Sudoku Sleuth? Could it be that he's saying #go to Patreon and support Sudoku Sleuth? I suspect that is not the case. That's not the intention. Let's take a look at the puzzle. What do we actually have in store for today? So we do have #2 by Willpower. I'll be honest, I wasn't actually sure that there was a #1, but I really should look it up and see if it's actually going to be another enjoyable puzzle from, I guess, the master constructor that we've been following for a while. So, rule sets for today. We have normal Sudoku rules, so that means the digits 1 to 9 in every row, such as this row, every column, such as this column, and in every 3x3 box, such as this 3x3 box. We have German whispers, so numbers on green lines are at least 5 apart from their neighbor on the line. So if we take this 3 cell line, means if this, for example, is a 7, then these two have to be 5 or more away. And you'd actually be sort of restricted to 1 and 2 in this particular case, because they're the only digits that are 5 or more away. What you'll notice, although we don't really have particularly long lines, is that the digits will oscillate between low digits, as in 1, 2, 3, or 4, high digits such as 6, 7, 8, or 9, and then low, high, if that was a continuous green line. Notice in my samples, I did not include the digit 5. It really shouldn't be too difficult to understand why having a 5 here in the middle, you'd find it extremely difficult under normal Sudoku rules to actually come up with digits that are 5 or more away. What else do we have? We've got killer cages. So numbers in cages sum to the number in the top left corner. So if we take this cage here, you can see it defined by this dashed line around these two cells, and in the top left corner it has the digit number 15, and all it's saying is these two cells must add up to 15. So for example, if that was a 6, this would have to be a 9 for the two cells to add up to 15. Lastly, we have KROPKI pairs. So numbers with white dots between them are consecutive. So if we put a 2 in this one, or actually let's continue with our 6 example. If I have a 6 on these two cells that you can see are joined by a white dot, this cell has to be consecutive to the 6. So it could be a 5, as in 5 plus 1 is 6, or it could also be a 7, as in 7 minus 1 is a 6. Clearly these two digits are going to be consecutive with the 6, and that will be a totally appropriate pencil marking. One last thing that Will has added in the rule sets, it says not all possible dots are shown. So, continuing with that 6 example, 6 and 7 in here, totally fine. It doesn't require me to have a white KROPKI dot between them. So that's all the rules we have for today. Even you can very clearly see the hashtag that's sort of drawn with German whisper lines. So I imagine that's going to be quite important to the solve. And we'll take a look at that in a second. Because it's time, if you want to play along, link will be in the description down below. Don't peek any further because that's when the solution will start. So let me restart the clock and see how I get on. So thinking about this hashtag, and you can see all of these cells are German whispers in row 3. So the 5 can only be in one of these two cells. And the same is true for row 7, in that the same sets of cells, German whispers, basically in the same columns, meaning that the 5 can only be in one of these two cells as well. And it's essentially the same happening in the columns, in column 3 and in column 7. So what we have in here is a 5 X-wing, because we know that one of these has to be a 5 in row 3, and we know one of these has to be a 5 in row 7. What we do know, though, is they're not going to share the same columns because that would break Sudoku rules. So if this was a 5, this will be a 5. Now, I'm not entirely sure how this helps just yet, if I'm honest. Because all I'm thinking is what it allows us to do. Let's use row 3 for the moment. You can see that we'll have one high digit, one low digit, one high digit, one low digit. It's only really the line in the middle where we're going to have 2 of, I don't know, low or high, and 1 of that. So essentially we have a 5 in one of these, and then the other purple is essentially along the 5. And we kind of have the same thing going on here, but I just don't know what is purple or orange on row 7, I mean. Okay, so I'm not going to investigate this too much further. What I'm going to probably do, actually I really didn't want to do that. I wanted to keep the grays. But what I do want to think about are these killer cages that are made up of low and high digits, because they're kind of restricted. You know, if you think about a 10 for a second, you could use 4 and 6 to make up a 10, but not when there is a German whisper line with it, because they're too close together. They're certainly not 5 apart. Neither is 3, 7. So this is from 1, 9 or 2, 8. 11 is, I could do 2, 9, I could do 3, 8, and this is it. And I'm guessing it's getting more and more restricted as we go. So with the 12, I could do 9, 3. And I couldn't do 8, 4. They're too close together. So this is, in fact, 9, 3. And I'm guessing the 13 is fixed. It is 4, 9. Now, if I have the 4 in the middle, that requires 2 9s in the row, because there the 9 is the only digit that is 5 or more away from a 4. So this has to be the 9. This is the 4. This is now a 3 or 5. And we actually know it's not a 3 because we've already pencil marked it in the 12 cage. That's the 5. Therefore, that's the 5. This is not a 5, and this is not a 5. And we have a bit of a break-in. Let's see if we can just continue with this. This would have to be the 6, the 1. This is therefore 2, 7, and 8. The 2 is clearly on the German whispers line, so the last remaining... Hang on, why did I say this is definitely 2, 7, or 8? This is 2 or 3. I don't actually know. Or maybe. 14 can only be done in one of 2 ways. 5, 9, 9 not available, and 5, 8. Sorry, and 5 and 6, 8. Then I have 2, well, 6, 8 is gone, and 9. 4, 5 wouldn't work, so this has to have a high digit, which is the 7, and it has to have the 2 to actually make it a 9. So it was actually 3, 2, 7, 8, 2 being here, this being 7 or 8. These 2 you can now clearly see are the same color. So I'm using red for high as in 6, 7, 8, or 9. Blue for low as in 1, 2, 3, or 4. This can't get to, you know, anything other than a high digit to be consecutive. So these are 2 highs, low. And because we've got another high and a low, that's 3, I only have 1 high in box 4, column 3. So it is in the middle. These are lows. And then I have 1 of each in here, which I'll come back to in a moment. Let me just see what else I can spot. So what is this? This is the remaining digits, which are 1 and 5. Can I tidy this up? I absolutely can. That's an 8, 2 removed, 9 and 1 removed, but not enough information, unfortunately, for me to solve this. Actually, probably enough. Take a look at this 5, which can only be connected to a 4 or 6. They're the only 2 digits that are consecutive. And the beauty of a 4 or 6 on a German whispers line is that it has to be an extreme digit that follows. So if that's a 6, the only low digit that is 5 or more away would be a 1. And the 4, the only high digit that will be 5 or more away would be a 9. Now, the fact that I have 1 9 in here eliminates the 1 9 as an option in the 10 cage. This is now forced to be a 2 8 cage, and therefore these two are low. This one is a high digit. This has to be 1 or 3. 1 is not available. That's a 3. And this is high. And then we got low and high to make sure that we have enough lows and highs in row 3. The fact that we have a 5 in here tells me that this high, whatever it may be, is connected to another high. That's a low. 2 highs. And then a third one in here. We've got the same thing again happening as we did in column 3. That this has to be the 4th high followed by 2 lows, which means this is the 3, this is the 9. I don't have a 9 in here. I don't have a 2 in there. I mean, I've colored it and I just ignored all the pencil mark updates. That's now an 8 and a 3. And it's joined with a 1 or 2 in here. And for the moment, this is it. 15 cage, now that it's not, there's only 2 ways of doing it. Now that the 8 is not available, it's not a 7, 8. This is 6 or 9. Not sure about what else is there. Come back to it, maybe. Sort of being distracted, if I'm honest, by the 9, meaning that there is a 9 in here. And in a 13 cage, if it was in there, it would be 9 and then 4 because of this 9. But I'm just trying to think, if it isn't a 9, as in a 4, 9, what are the other options? So 4, 9 works. 5, 8, not available because the 8 is gone. 6, 7, also not available because the 6 is gone. So this is in fact forced to be 4, 9. And the only order that this works in is this way. We've got the same thing here. We've got the 8 is gone, not 7, 8. It's 6, 9, and this 9 tells us the order. And that's the 6, that's the 9. I'm kind of having a bit of a field day as I look around. It's just all sort of coming together very quickly. This can only be 7 or 5. And a 5 would be joined with an 8, which is available, unfortunately. A 7 would be joined with a 6, which is available, unfortunately, to make sure that this domino adds up to 13. I have a 1 or, well, actually 1, 2, or 4, so I'm not going to pencil mark this. 3, you can see, is highly restricted in this box. It can only be in this cell. The 8 gives me the 7 in here. This now has to be the 6. This has to be the 1. This has to be a 2. I am placing a 4 and 9 in here, which is interesting. I suspect I can resolve this from here. I mean, the fact that I have 4 and 9, that's a 1. Therefore, that's a 6. This is essentially all the same color. So I could have 2, 3, and 4. Or I could also have 7, 8, and 9. And the reason I'm saying they're all the same color is we know that they are joined by a white Kropki dot and the 5 is not available. So it's either all low and all high, or the reverse, basically. All low or high. This is now 7 or 9 because 6 and 8 are not available, and the 9 is not available. That's a 7. To finish the column, I need 4 and 9. The 4 9s are sort of showing up everywhere, really. This could be, well, 8 if it's a 9. The 4 could be 5 or 3. I'll pencil mark both for the moment. The 7, this unfortunately could still be an 8 or 6. Yeah, I probably need to think about other things that will just restrict my options a bit more. This is I'm not enjoying this type of pencil marking when you're just listing every option. So Let's see what else I need to be thinking about to actually make some real progress. Now, here is something. We know that there is another high digit which is down here. If it was the 6, it would need a 1, but it's not available. So this is an 8 for sure, with 1's not available, 3's not available, can only be a 2, and therefore this is a 6, a 1, and a 4. 2, 8 in here. Does the 6 and 1 resolve anything? No, but it does give me the 9, the 6, and the 9 gives me the 4, 3, 2, and the 9. And now I have 7 and 8, which is not resolved up here. Too many options, I think. 2, 3, 4, that's not a 3. 5 and 8, unfortunately, both still work with the 4, 9 for the moment. What it does tell me is that there is a 1 in here because of this one. Can't really do a lot more. 1, 2, 3. So I could do, I'm pretty sure actually this is 4, 5 because it needs to be consecutive. The other digit that I need to place in box 2 is a 7, and that wasn't going to be consecutive. That's a 1, 7. This is a 5, 8 to finish the row, and then I'm left with 2, 3. Incredibly, nothing here is resolved. Okay. We know that this is 2, 8. Should have pencil marked this earlier. And we're basically, we've pencil marked pretty much everything at this point. 4, 5, 4. I mean, the 2, 7, staring at the 1, 7. Some of these could have been placed earlier. 1, 7 in here. I know what this digit is. It could be, it is only a 1. I know what these two are. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I need a 5 and a 9. No, 5 and a 6. And they're not resolved. Okay. And I need in here a 2, 7, and 8. Not 2, not 8. So I'm thinking, looking at the setup of this puzzle, not a lot is really going to give it away at this point other than the 13 cage. Because we know that this is going to have a bit of play on the rest of the row. The rest is just too open, I guess would be the word to use. I mean, I could try and think about what digit would fit in here and kind of complete this column, but 13 cage, let's think through this one. So one option is 7 and 6, forcing this to be a 5, leaving 2, 8, and then 2, 8. Which breaks. So 7, 6, 5, and then these two would be 2, 8, and I can't place a 2, 8 because of this. So this has to be 5, 8, 6, not 8, that's 2 or 7. Well, it's actually a 2 because we can't place a 2 in box 4, so that's the 2, that's the 7. This 2 gives me the rest of the column, and I already have this one. That's therefore a 5, that's the 1, that's the 4. The 5, yeah, I can probably finish it from here. 8, 9, 4. Well, the 2, 3 are still not resolved, but let's have a think. I need a 1 in this row. I need a 2. That gives me the 3 and the 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We need 6 and 7. That's the 6. That's the 7. 2, 8 not resolved. 7, 8 is resolved those. 7 and 8. Therefore, this is 2 and 8. I need 4 and 9. Doesn't seem resolved. And then 3 and 5. Still not resolved. So I need 1, 2. Actually, the 6. Come on. Sleuth. Come on. 8, 6. 8 gives me the 2, the 8, the 7, the 2. The 1 gives me the 5, the 1. Have I got, yeah, I've got the 3, the 5. 4s and 9s, not resolved. That's okay. Let's think about 3s first. 3 can only be in here. This is 4 or 9. I've got a 4 in there. That's the 9. That's the 4. That's the 9. I need 4 and 7 to finish. The 4 is in here, and if I've not made any mistakes, 7 for today's solution. Beautiful puzzle, as usual, Willpower. Not quite sort of the painting masterpieces we're used to, but love kind of the interplay that the hashtag has. I'm just trying to think, have I missed a more obvious break-in? I think the 19, the 13 cage, the 12 cage were really the only way to get started. I don't think I'm missing anything else. And I mean, using the 13 cage to sort of make progress, that was, I'm fairly sure, the only way to make progress. I love sort of that run of same color, and you just needed to look elsewhere in the grid to resolve it. I'm not sure. I think it was probably an optimal solution other than the fact that I keep missing Sudoku rows and columns that will just make progress earlier. But what another lovely puzzle, Willpower. Thank you so much for creating it and sharing it with us. And I hope that you guys have enjoyed today's puzzle and today's video. It's a nice way to wrap up the weekend. A relatively approachable puzzle. And hope that you enjoyed it and see you back for the next one. Bye for now.